I'm not sure how to start this video, but we'll take it slow. Cue the intro.
Wait, you care to explain them? The fire alarm.
Alright, hello. Today I was going to talk about the gear that I carry. I've been working outdoors for about 5 years now, so that's everything from trail maintenance and construction to invasive species removal and habitat restoration, then the conservation world, the recreation world, all kinds of in-between, navigating between the two. I kind of want to talk about what I carry, depending on where I'm at. This is the typical stuff. That's everything from just being out in a city trail to being out way far doing maintenance, but usually I'm doing work. So this is just kind of the basic stuff that I carry, or most of, if not all of the stuff that I carry. We'll get started. To get it out of the way, I'm gonna get that hat out of the way. Just a simple BOONIE hat by UF Pro. It does have a nice metal bar here, so I can adjust how much rain is in my face, or water, and or sun is in my face. But it's nice, full brim, covers everything. It's great. Keep the strap in the back of my head, but you can put it in the front, and you can adjust it. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter. I keep it specifically in the back of my head because when I go to spit, when I get my healthy serving of dirt, the strap always ends up right in the line of fire, so this thing is always covered in saliva, so I started to put it in the back of my head, which is helpful. And you can adjust the strap, so that makes it really nice and easy. Nice and tight. I'm not going to lose this thing, even if it is a little bit more windy. But that's nice. I just want to get this thing off, but that's usually what I'm wearing. And then from here, probably going to start bottom up. So boots, pants, belt, backpack, maybe base layer. But to start, boots and pants. Okay, so here's the gist. These are the boots that I wear. They're Wolverines, they're construction style boot. They do have a composite toe, but the important part is that they do have boas. So just like my thoughts, I can constrict myself all I want. They're really nice because say I'm driving up a mountain road and I need to tighten my boot, I don't have to stop and tie my shoes again. I can just tighten it up just like that. So while I have them on, I can tighten them, loosen them, do the fun stuff. But they're a really great pair of boots, really last me. This company, only pair of boots that I've had that lasted me past a year, year and a half. We do have another pair of boots. They're oil rig boots, just the same. Boas, the only difference is that they're steel toe and they look a little bit different, but they feel great, last long, really great. Yeah, so really great boots. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. Really love them. Anyway, next onto the pants. I should have picked a better angle for this. But these are UF Pros, same as the hat. That's why the colors match really well. I really love these pants. I cannot say enough about them. These are the Gen 3s. I can't remember which one's Striker or something. A little more expensive than I'd hoped, but they last. This is the first pair of pants, again, that have lasted me more than 6 months. So really great. These have lasted me a year. They have knee pads in them. They're built in. So I have 3 different layers of protection. I have my soft layer, the cushion layer, so when I'm kneeling for a long time, it's really comfy. Then I have the next layer, which is the impact layer. And then I have the final layer, which is the hard layer, so I don't get stabbed through the knee. But they all fit right in here. With this also works as a vent. Really great pair of pants. If you'll notice very carefully, they are really long. I do have a good reason for that. Okay, I don't have a good reason for that. I'm a little short, and that's that. But they fold up really nice, and I wanted to show you this, is they have a pocket on the ankle and things like that. They do cinch up. It does have a hook right here to hook to your boots and things like that. But because I'm short and they don't make those in my size, that's the only reason. You can tuck it into the top of your boot, make sure the dirt doesn't get in there, no ticks, things like that. But overall, great pair of pants. You can put the hard layer on the outside. You put the hard layer into here, things like that. Makes it really nice because then you're layered your protection. And again, ventilation's great. Same with up here, there's a ventilation place right here. You can get your cargo pocket as well through this section. So, you know, if you need to get something through here, you can also, you know, if you can't get it through the top, like say you're sitting down and, you know, you can't like get into it while you're driving, you can go through the top, you can grab whatever you need. It's a good deal, so, you know. But yeah, overall great. They have dividers inside the cargo. They also have pockets on the outside here. Sometimes I'll keep my knife here. They do have pen pockets all over the place. One right here, extra stuff here. You know, if you need to keep it here, you can keep it down here. All kinds of features, really breathable, really great. You know, I have a full range of motion, so if I needed to, you know, I can move as much as I need to. I don't have to worry about it. So, but great pair of pants. Really love them. Can't say enough about them. What? I'm gonna pretend like that segment worked. So to start with the belt, we'll go probably from this side around, and then I'll take it off when I don't want to be turning around. But to start, this is a basic admin pouch by Condor. So I keep my basic stuff here. So I have my pen, which is here. Usually I keep a notepad in here, and I do have a trash bag, some napkins. I do have an ID place here. My ID badge is in here, so I'm not gonna show that. Extra place for, you know, putting stuff. This Sharpie right here I want to kind of touch base on. This one is specifically for logs and, you know, timber or if I have to mark boards or, you know, just basic stuff. Like for cutting, if I have to mark it, I know that this tip is going to get messed up. So the Sharpies back here are specifically for first aid, and this one's going to be for everything else. This one's a little bit more expendable, which is why I keep it here. So I just make sure I'm not crossing the two. I don't want to go up and use my first aid one when the time comes and then find out the tip is jacked up. So that's why this one's here. And I do keep it upside down because when I sit, it flies out. So this way it stays in. But yeah, that's the gist of this pouch. Real quick, just to touch base on this. This is my blood type. I keep it here just in case, and then I keep my gloves on it. So it's just, I know where my gloves are at every time. Moving around on the side, keep my water bottle here. It's attached with a locking carabiner, but it makes it real nice because I know exactly where it's at. I don't have to look. And if I need to, I can lock it in place. I picked here specifically because as I'm walking, even if it is flapping around, it's not in my way. It's not hitting my thigh, not hitting the back of my leg. It's just on the side swinging around. But this happens to be the sweet spot where usually it's just moving up and down, but it's not swinging. So, but again, even if it is, it's not hitting anything. And I can lock it in place. And as you heard, it is attached to an inner belt. The inner belt goes into your belt loops like normal, and then the Velcro on the inside of the belt locks to the outside of this belt. These pants happen to have it built in, but usually I just wear a liner or like a simple belt, which is made of Velcro on the inside of my belt loops. This is the dump pouch. This is going to be anything that I need to just throw in, or like if I have trash, things like that. Just a miscellaneous pouch. It looks small, and it is, but it expands, so it's really nice. It does cinch up. So if I need to keep things or retention things, it's nice and compact. It's in there. It does have the flap as well, but it does fold up really nice, really handy. If I have to buy a pouch first, that's always going to be the first one. Next up, I have I don't know what to call this thing, Binocular Telescope, small thing, but it's to help see long distance. Same thing as a binocular, just not by, you know, single. It's hard to use at first, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. It's retention with a little bit of an elastic band and a buckle, just to really make sure for safekeeping. Don't want this thing flying out when I'm running, things like that. Next up, the first aid kit. This thing is laced with Kevlar, but it's just to make sure that it lasts longer. It's expensive for what it was, but it's a good first aid kit. It's good. This Sharpie is the one that I was talking about. This is the one for emergencies only. I don't use this one unless I really need to, but I try not to just because, again, if I need to go up and use my Tourniquet and I have to write the time down, then I don't want to find out this tip is jacked up. That's what the other one's for. Secondary Sharpie, just in case, is the brown one, so I can see the difference between the two. Next up, I do keep my trauma shears here. They're retention with a retracting cable, because again, when I do run around, everything's flying out sometimes. And I keep it on the side just because when I have my backpack on, if it's up here, it's gonna get in the way. It sits on my backpack sits on it, so I keep it on this side. Plus, when I'm reaching around, if I'm reaching for my first aid kit, I'm gonna use my right hand. Always use my right hand, just kind of reaction, so I kind of placed it based on that. So I have my trauma shears there, and then I pulled the right side of the first aid kit as well. Yeah. And to move a little bit further, there's a radio pouch here. I modified it with a couple of elastic bands, a extra strap, and some pieces of Velcro that I have lying around. I took it and I modified it so that I can put a mallet in, specifically for usually when I'm driving in rebar, but I need to have that hammer on hand so I can just pull it out. It's a nice place for it. It's just on the outside of the radio pouch, so even if I do have a radio, it's not going to hinder it because it's nice and padding on the outside. So usually if I have one, I don't have the other. So, you know, it's either radio or a hammer, but you very rarely both. There's a nice placement for it. So there's that. I'll put this thing back on so I don't have to carry it. All right, and on this side is going to be the most heavily used tools that I have because it's my right hand. So, you know, I can do this all blindfolded. I can pull out my knife, put it back. You know, multi-tool, Leatherman Signal. This thing's great. Use this thing all the time. I really have nothing bad to say about this. Actually, well, yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it, but great. I have it in a hard case because I can hear it, I can feel it click. I don't like the soft pouches. Same thing with my flashlight. I like to keep it in a hard pouch because in a hard case because I can feel it, I can hear it. It just makes more sense to me, and I don't have to look. So, you know, if I need to turn it on, that's fine. Yeah, so I know where everything's at. So again, knife. I need to pull out my Leatherman flashlight, all the fun stuff. I know exactly where everything's at. If it's off more than half an inch, then it feels weird. That's how dialed in it is. I know exactly where everything's at if I need to reach for it, you know. Get my water here, all the fun stuff. Last two things, I have a roll of tape here, which is just an elastic band with a carabiner on it, and I can take the tape off. This is just happened to be what I have on hand, sports tape, which is great for a lot of different things. It's cloth tape. I just keep it there just because it's good to have on hand. It's really easy if I need to label something or whatnot. Just a lot easier to have on hand. Don't have to go digging through my backpack or anything like that. And last but not least, this is the thing that I didn't realize that I would need the most, or so often, is the tape measure. Because, you know, if you're out in the forest and this is not working, then you're doing something very specific. I'll use this for, you know, if we have to do edge barriers or check doing steps or things like that, and doing, You can even do some basic math. You can do triangles and stuff. Like if you need to figure out, oh, I need a 14-degree slope on this, then you can do the math for it. But anyway, it's good to have these because you can space things out and you can definitely do the carpentry work for different things. You really want to make sure that you're doing those, do it once or do it again or buy the lumber again. So, yeah, but it's nice to have on hand, mainly for trails, but kind of depends. In regards to gloves, I've lost a bunch of them, but these are some of my favorites, just depending on what I'm doing. These are really nice thin ones. They're just exos. They're just very basic, just to kind of keep me from scuffing up my hands. They're not going to cut any vibrations or anything like that. These, on the other hand, are going to be the way opposite. These are going to be super thick. These are usually from like rock barring, or if I have to drive in wedges for a log with a sledge. You have your 12-pound sledge and you're hitting 5-pound wedges. The vibrations kind of get to you sometimes, especially after like that 5th or 6th hour of doing it. So I like to have something to cut the vibration. I did lose the right glove for all 3 of these pairs, but you know, they're all good. They're all for different things, so don't ask me which pair I love the most because it just really depends on the day. This is what I think is the happy medium. I really like the mechanics stuff. It's enough protection in the hand that it's not, like I've smashed my hands so many times, it's not even funny. It cuts enough of vibration that I'm not like shaking paint cans all day, but it's also, I can move my hands, I can feel it, I still have the dexterity I need for everything that I'm doing. So if I need to like manipulate bolts and things like that, it's not like this really thick thing. So I really like the mechanics ones, especially because they already have these in here, so I don't have to sew in somewhere to put my my gloves. And onto that, we have the backpack. Last but not least, the backpack. This is where the fun begins. Start from the outside and we'll go from some of the smallest pockets to the biggest pockets. So to start off, I always keep 2 water bottles on me, sometimes one on the inside, but try to keep both on the outside just because it's easy access. Sometimes I'll switch one of them for a jacket just in case I'm in an area that's raining, things like that. Usually they're secured by carabiners and stuff like that. Get those out of the way. Alright, next up, the most important part, obviously the patches, things like that. All fun. Anyway, we'll move on. Starting with this side, we do have the tourniquet here, because if I really need to reach it, the first thing that I'm going to reach for is the right side of my backpack. So I'm going to sling it on my right, I'm going to reach for the tourniquet, because that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to reach for in case of an emergency. If something like that's happening, that's going to be the first reaction. I do have a set of gloves here because that's also going to be the first thing that I need to grab. It's in a Condor pouch, so I can just pull them out from the side. It's an EMT pouch. You can even see it sticking out. You can just pull them out, kind of like a dispenser. On this side, we do have the actual first aid kit. It's also on a rip away, so I can rip it off and I can take it around. Opens up real nicely, which is what I really like. And the first aid kits is if I can't see everything that I'm working with, it just makes it difficult for me. And then to move on, I do have a little bit of extra first aid here. This is also where you can put your Camelback if you need to, but I modified this pouch to hold some of the larger stuff. I have larger, like these size gauze pads. Not that I think I need them, but you never know. But all the stuff that I can keep flat and that is typically larger, I have in here. So larger gauze pads and things like that, but simple stuff, but all the things that lay nice. Moving on to the outside of the smallest pocket, I have basic things, allergy medicine, screwdriver with different heads. This is the kinds that ratchet, so that's great. Sewing kit, basic notepads, things like that, deodorant, the important stuff. The stuff that I typically need the most, but I keep it here just because easy access is life. So, you know, down here I keep my pens usually. Sometimes I'll keep hard drives and, you know, other snacks. So, you have poison oak wash and some bars. Right now I have a hard drive. Stuff. But the 2 more arguably important parts that I carry here are, I have a dissection kit, which is complete with a lot of different things. I have all kinds of stories with this. I didn't believe my professor when he said that you should carry one of these because it comes in handy every once in a while. I was like, this is not gonna happen. I use this all the time. I mean like 4 to 7 times a week. It's great. Very small kit, very amateur, but it gets the job done. All kinds of fun stuff. You know, your spatula, your scalpel. The first time I locked my keys in my car, I used the scalpel to help jimmy the door open. Don't do that, but it's a great kit. You know, I used some of these I used this to get somebody's credit card out of a machine when it got stuck one time. All kinds of stuff. 10, 13 bucks on Amazon. I thought it was worth it. Plus you just keep finding stuff that you can add to it. It's great. And then the next more important thing in here is I keep a splint just in case. So this one is actually just a metal sheet with essentially a giant sponger on it or nice padding. And essentially if, say I break an ankle or something like that and I just need to stabilize it or I need to make sure that it's immobilized, you just wrap it up with this and then I'm just gonna use an Israeli bandage on the outside to really lock it in place. You know, 2 simple things really go a long way. The dissection kit really goes a long way. Next up, in the second largest pocket, I keep my fire starter stuff. So I have my matches, my magnesium. Very rarely need this. Only had to use it a couple times when I had to camp out, and that's, even then, that wasn't very often. Other less important stuff, like whiteout. You know, if I need any kind of chargers, I just keep throwing them into here. So I do keep a compass in here, and I've only had to use it a couple times, and I suck at it, but very important to have. It's got an inclinometer on it, it's got a level on it. I use the level more than the actual compass of it, so, you know, but it's not bad at all. And then, last but not least, I do keep a sharpening stone in here, and some people laugh, but if you need to hit somebody on the head, I'm kidding. People do laugh when I say that I carry one of these, but then as soon as we need it, it makes total sense. I've used this thing for Pulaskis, I've used it for loppers, I've used it for making jewelry, all kinds of random stuff that I've needed. I don't have honing fluid for it yet, but I've used diesel on it. But really great to have, really easy to use, and really versatile, depending. Plus one day, maybe I'll skip it off as a rock. I don't know. Yeah, and then last but not least, I keep all my folders in here. Everything that's flat. Sometimes I'll keep the water bottles in here, you know, maps, things like that. Journal, sometimes my laptop. But this is gonna be, it's the least fun pouch, which is the largest one. Just the basics, papers, paperwork, all the less fun things. I don't know if this all makes sense. I'm hoping it's fine. But yeah. The backpack itself is Maxpedition. I was thinking about getting a different one for a long time, but this thing's lasted me forever, so, you know, and I still don't have any problems with it. Yeah, usually I keep a carabiner here, because if I need to pick it up, it makes it a lot easier. Or if I need to sling it over my shoulder, I can hold it here. Makes it a little bit easier to handle. But overall, great backpack. Lasted me 5 years, and I still don't have any scratches on it. It's good stuff. I don't know if I have anything else to say about that. I hope this was informative. Just like the intro of the video, I don't know how to end it, so thanks.